Hold on to your crowns, folks. Meghan Markle's Netflix show just set a record. Unfortunately, it's the kind you don't want. From a $100 million deal to public embarrassment and now a rumored meltdown behind the scenes, we're breaking it all down. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive into the stories the mainstream media is too scared to tell. So let's start with what everyone's talking about. With love, Meghan.
And Tom was very busy last night, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah. You were watching the Duchess of Sussex's latest Netflix series, which has had very mixed reviews, but you really enjoyed it, didn't you?
OK, here's where I come clean, Emily. I didn't watch a single second.
In a spectacular collapse that critics are calling the final nail in the coffin of her media ambitions, Meghan Markle's highly anticipated Netflix series With Love, Meghan has officially bombed, earning the worst ratings in Netflix's original programming history for a celebrity-backed production. Far from a graceful failure, the Duchess-turned-content creator is reportedly spiraling behind closed doors, consumed by damage control as industry insiders flee, legal threats stack up, and public sentiment reaches a brutal low.
And I just couldn't bring myself to.
Well, should we give you a little refresher?
I just want to raise a glass to you, guys. This feels like a new chapter that I'm so excited that I get to share. And I've been able to learn from all of you. So just thank you for the love and support. And here we go, there's a business.
Once hailed as a modern icon of female empowerment, Meghan is now battling accusations of hypocrisy, plagiarism, narcissism, and royal title misuse, all while feuding with critics, alienating allies, and reportedly issuing cease and desist letters over ridiculous branding rows involving bath salts. The fairy tale is over. And this time, even Netflix is distancing itself. This was supposed to be her big comeback, her rebranding moment, her Watch Me Rise Again Netflix triumph.
Now, you must be literally a bundle of wits waiting for this incredible new show, With Love, from Meghan. You must be waiting for it.
I mean, Meghan, some of her advice that she gave People magazine this week was how she likes to take her Chinese takeout and make it look beautiful on the plate. And, you know, that's the kind of advice I'm looking for.
But instead, Meghan Markle's newest venture, With Love, Meghan, didn't just flop. It crashed and burned so spectacularly that even Netflix is quietly backing away. What was billed as a heartfelt, uplifting docuseries has now entered the history books, for all the wrong reasons. Critics are laughing, viewers have tuned out, and Meghan? According to insiders, she's in full meltdown mode behind the scenes. If this was meant to silence the critics,
Biggest stars and investors, where they were teasing their 2025 lineup, Meghan was nowhere to be found in the paperwork. She received a brief mention when she was the butt of a joke by one of the comedians on stage.
It's done the exact opposite. With Love, Meghan was reportedly funded with a multi-million-dollar budget under the couple's $100 million Netflix deal. It launched with a prime release window, full platform support, and the kind of visibility most content creators would kill for. But despite the hype, it was a total ratings catastrophe. According to viewership trackers like FlixPatrol and Nielsen, With Love, Meghan failed to break into Netflix's top 10 in nearly every major market during its debut week. Not in the US, not in the UK, not even in Canada. It was beaten out by reruns, K-dramas, and decades-old sitcoms. Executives at Netflix are now reportedly re-evaluating their partnership with the Sussexes. Privately, some are said to view the project as a vanity reel with no audience, and in a platform driven entirely by engagement and viewership metrics. That's the kiss of death. But the failure wasn't just in the viewership. The critics, usually more cautious with celebrity projects, didn't hold back this time. The Daily Telegraph gave it a 1-star review, calling it mind-numbingly shallow.
This was supposed to be her rebranding moment, a fresh start, a lifestyle cooking docuseries hybrid featuring friends, food and feelings. But instead of a comeback, it turned into a full-on collapse. The show didn't crack Netflix's top 10 in the US, UK, Canada anyway. It was beaten out by reruns and decades-old sitcoms. Decades old. Even the K-dramas blew past it for a series with this kind of budget and hype. That's unheard of. Critics didn't hold back either. The Daily Telegraph called it mind-numbingly shallow. The Guardian said it was a disaster of self-importance. And the Daily Beast? They branded it a bloated influencer diary. Ouch. Now let's get into the drama that's really lighting up social media.
Joining me now is celebrity and royal commentator Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, let's start with the reaction to Meghan Markle's new cooking show. I should say Meghan Sussex, because she prefers that these days. It's called With Love, Meghan. It's been ripped to pieces by the critics.
The New York Times said the series drowns in its own narcissism. The Guardian took it even further, branding it a disaster of self-importance masked as self-care. Perhaps the most damning review came from the Daily Beast, which called it a bloated influencer diary disguised as a docuseries, pointing out that Meghan seems far more interested in controlling a narrative than telling a story. Across the board, critics agreed. This wasn't a show made for audiences. It was a show made for Meghan's ego. It was self-indulgent. It was calculated. And worst of all, it was boring.
Alongside some of her long-term friends, but she's cooking with a makeup artist, if you can even call it cooking. At one point, from what I understand, she removes pretzels from one bag and then puts them somewhere else in another bag. I mean, is that really a cooking program? And
even liberal media outlets that once championed Meghan's message, like Vogue and Vanity Fair, kept their praise muted or absent altogether. That silence? Deafening. One of the most controversial aspects of a show isn't in the content, it's in the branding. Despite stepping back from royal duties in 2020 and publicly criticizing the monarchy in multiple interviews, Meghan still signs off media projects and promotional materials using her royal title, the Duchess of Sussex. That branding appears prominently in With Love, Meghan, a move that has enraged royal watchers and constitutional experts alike. Royal commentator Tom Bower called it brazen hypocrisy, accusing Meghan of monetizing a title she once rejected. Angela Levin echoed the sentiment, saying, "She wants the perks of royalty without the duty or accountability." And it's not just the public raising eyebrows. According to the Times,
This has been your makeup artist for how many years? And when he slices his hand open, you're surprised when he tells you he's left-handed. I mean, none of it makes sense, Rita. But that's not even that's one of my favorite review headlines. Another was from Variety, who, don't forget, Meghan Markle loves the Variety. She gives them access to her. She was on the cover of.
There have been internal discussions within Buckingham Palace about whether further action should be taken to restrict the Sussexes' title usage in commercial ventures. One of the most mocked elements of the series was Meghan's repeated emotional breakdowns. On camera, in multiple scenes, she appears to tear up while recounting moments of her struggle and resilience. But many viewers and experts weren't buying it. Judy James, a well-known body language expert who has analyzed political figures and celebrities for decades,
access to her. She was on the cover of their magazine shortly after Queen Elizabeth died. But their review title was With Love, Meghan is a Montecito ego trip not worth taking. That's all it is. It's a vanity project.
Ooh.
And I can tell you haven't watched it, and I wish to God I could be there.
told Sky News that Meghan's expressions were controlled and rehearsed. Patty Wood, another analyst with over 30 years of experience, noted that Meghan's supposed tears were not consistent with genuine emotion, pointing to her dry eyes and the absence of authentic facial muscle movement. Social media exploded with side-by-side memes of Meghan crying, with no visible tears, wiping the same spot on her cheek repeatedly. Hashtags like #MeghanOscars and #Duchess of Drama trended for days. The public didn't see vulnerability. They saw performance. And that's perhaps the most damning blow of all. Because when an audience no longer believes you, your brand becomes unwatchable. So, to recap, a record-breaking flop, scathing critic reviews, title misuse that's infuriating monarchists and moderates alike.
Multiple scenes in With Love, Meghan show her crying. But here's the thing, body language experts say it looks fake. Dry eyes, no real emotion, wiping the same cheek over and over again. It feels staged, it feels rehearsed, viewers aren't buying it. Meanwhile, the Spotify deal, total failure. Meghan delivered just 12 episodes of her podcast, Archetypes, for a $20 million deal. That's $1.6 million per episode. Critics called it cringe. Spotify execs called her and Harry, well, let's just say grifters wasn't the nicest term. Then there are the lawsuits, trademark issues over Archetypes, allegations of copying, a children's book for her cancelled show Pearl, and questions over her homemade jam and bath salts violating FDA rules. It's a legal circus, and it's all coming down.
Little I've seen of it, it's not really something that is aspirational. It's not something you watch and go, I wish I could be doing that. I wish I could be making candles in some mansion or, you know, playing with my... Like, it's just bizarre because it's not reality-based, it's not raw and real.
And a documentary full of tears no one believes. And this is just the beginning. Meghan Markle's media empire isn't just wobbling. It's collapsing under its own weight. Stay tuned, because what's coming next could be even more explosive. If you thought Meghan Markle's Netflix crash and burn was the low point, buckle up. Because behind the scenes, things are getting even uglier. From a podcast that's been publicly ridiculed by industry giants to lawsuits circling like vultures and whispers of a past that refuses to stay buried, Meghan's meltdown isn't just about one failed show. It's about a crumbling brand built on borrowed titles, media manipulation, and mounting controversy. Before With Love, Meghan flopped, there was Archetypes.
Her appearance on that show. Tell us about this, Kinsey.
Well, this is one of our favorite topics, right? Just how gross Drew Barrymore can be when it comes to her physical activity with her guests. And yeah, the body language. Yes, and the body language expert says that Meghan's kind of met her match because
the Spotify podcast that was meant to be Meghan's intellectual legacy. Instead, it turned into a cringe-worthy embarrassment. Even Spotify, which signed Meghan and Harry to a $20 million deal, eventually pulled the plug. Meghan produced just 12 episodes over 2 years. That's $1.6 million per episode. For recycled interviews, cliched monologues, and sound bites masquerading as insight. And industry giants didn't hold back. Joe Rogan publicly mocked the podcast for being unlistenable. Bill Simmons, Spotify's head of podcast innovation, savaged the couple in a bombshell quote. The F***ing grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched. Meghan and Harry's grift.
Request that it air unedited. Yes, there's some trust issues in this relationship, Kinsey. I reckon it's going to be a fascinating exchange if it takes place. It might be a hostile exchange. And let's remind people just how fascinating Elon Musk can be in interviews. Here he is with...
That wasn't just shade. That was Spotify's own executive disavowing their decision in the most brutal terms possible. And let's not forget, Meghan won a dubious Webby Award for Archetypes. But critics noted that the win came through fan voting, not peer review. Translation? Popularity contest, not merit. Behind the camera, Meghan's media world is a legal minefield. First, there's the scandal around the American Riviera orchard bath salts and jam jars, which she's been gifting to influencers. Reports from TMZ and Daily Mail revealed that some of these homemade products may be breaching health and safety laws, especially if they're classified as cosmetics or ingestibles without FDA-compliant labeling. Then there's the trademark trouble. Meghan filed for exclusive rights to Archetypes as a brand, only to be blocked by multiple existing companies, including a UK business and a US-based therapy platform. The US Patent and Trademark Office flagged her application as too vague and likely to cause confusion. And let's not forget the Pearl scandal. Her cancelled Netflix cartoon project allegedly suspiciously similar to Pearl Power, a pre-existing UK children's book series by Mel Elliott. Elliott confirmed in interviews that no one from Meghan's team ever reached out before developing a concept almost identical in tone and name. Lawsuit pending? Possibly. Bad optics? Definitely. What's emerging isn't a savvy entrepreneur. It's a pattern of sloppy branding, legal overreach, and failed execution. And then, there's the rumor Meghan cannot shake. The yacht girl allegations, once confined to fringe gossip circles, have now leaked into mainstream conversation. Critics, former acquaintances, and even royal biographers like Lady Colin Campbell have referenced Meghan's mysterious pre-suits lifestyle in increasingly bold terms. While there's no court-verified proof linking Meghan to high-end yachting circles, it's her legal silence that continues to fuel the speculation. As Spectator World pointed out, if it's not true, why not sue? She sues the tabloids for less. Even fellow Hollywood figures have commented anonymously in industry forums, hinting at reputation management efforts that trace back to alleged high society parties in the Mediterranean and Gulf states. Events where actresses were allegedly flown in for networking, companionship, and brand exposure. To be clear, these are unproven claims, but Meghan's carefully curated image and her refusal to directly address these allegations create a vacuum. And that vacuum gets filled with noise. And in the world of celebrity reputation, perception is reality. What we're seeing isn't just a media disaster. It's a domino collapse. One that started with a Netflix flop, but now stretches into podcast failures, looming lawsuits, and a past that refuses to stay in the shadows. Meghan Markle wanted to control the narrative. Instead, she's become the narrative, and the headlines are only getting worse. Meghan Markle's Netflix failure was just the start. Now the podcast cringe, looming lawsuits, and dark rumors are adding fuel to an already blazing media meltdown. Let's break down the next phase of this collapsing empire. Because it's not just bad, it's catastrophic. Remember Archetypes? Meghan's overhyped Spotify podcast that was supposed to redefine feminism? It turned into a PR nightmare. Despite a $20 million deal, Meghan produced just 12 episodes and reportedly used staff to interview guests for her. It was so bad that Spotify pulled the plug. Spotify exec Bill Simmons called Meghan and Harry ing grifters. Joe Rogan openly mocked the show. Even fans admitted the content was shallow, repetitive, and self-indulgent. Then came the legal trouble. Meghan's new American Riviera Orchard brand launched with homemade jam and bath salts. But reports surfaced that the products lack FDA labeling compliance. And let's not ignore Pearl, her cancelled Netflix series accused of copying the Pearl Power book series by Mel Elliott. The author confirmed Meghan never contacted her. It's a textbook case of IP infringement just waiting for litigation. And now, the most damaging PR wound of all, the long-circulating yacht girl allegations. Royal biographers and Hollywood insiders have repeatedly hinted at Meghan's murky past, including alleged ties to high-end social events in the Mediterranean. While unproven, the fact that Meghan has never sued or directly denied these claims keeps the fire alive. As one royal columnist said, she sues for headlines. Why not this? Unless it's too close to the truth. Failed podcasts, legal chaos, reputation whispers she can't silence. Meghan's image isn't just cracked, it's collapsing. And the worst part? The spotlight she craved is now her biggest threat.
At once. So, where does this leave Meghan Markle? What was supposed to be a media empire is looking more like a house of cards. Failed shows, lost deals, public mockery, and a crumbling image. The spotlight she fought so hard for is now shining on everything she didn't want you to see. If this is the start of the downfall, we're in for a lot more headlines. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is Meghan being unfairly targeted? Or is this the result of a carefully crafted image finally cracking? And don't forget, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with someone who's been following the royal roller coaster. I'll see you in the next one.